Good evening and welcome to a special edition of the Just Danny Show. I'm going to be going over last night's city council meeting, and there's going to be lots of information. We're going to have pictures, audio, all kinds of things, pictures, video, and all kinds of other things incorporated into this. So this is going to be kind of a long podcast. It's going to be probably at least an hour, and I apologize for that, but it is what it is to put all of this information in. So if you do not have time right now, just shut me off and then come back. It'll be archived on YouTube, and then that link from YouTube will be on my Facebook page, and you can watch it at your own leisure when you are able to. Now, with that being said, you know how I like to just jump into things and not preface too much. So let's go ahead and jump in. Last night, there was a city council meeting. As you are aware, this is the second council meeting for our newest council member, Todd Howard. It was pretty benign, the council meeting, until we got to agenda item number 16, which was put on there for Todd Howard. Todd Howard requested it, but he thought it was going to be mixed in with, I guess, a workshop with what Chandra had asked for 2 weeks before that. So I'm going to go ahead and just read off of his page real quick. So you can understand what mindset he was coming from. As you are aware, I did post last night that he did last night, in regard to agenda item number 16, ask for the termination of our city manager with just cause. He passed out several packets to each council member in regard to the evidence for the just cause. However, he made a procedural error, as Dan would later point out, our city attorney, because per the charter, there's protocol and processes that have to go into place in order to come to the conclusion, if you will, of terminating a city manager. And on his Facebook, his Facebook page, Todd Howard, Claremont City Council, he says, number 16 was a request by me. This is the number 16 on the agenda. For a review of the city manager. When this was submitted, another council member made a similar request, which was Chandra Myers 2 weeks ago. Because she had pointed out 2 weeks ago that he hadn't had a review, and it's been several years, and he has not had a review. And so she brought that up a couple of weeks ago, and I think she was trying to advocate for a workshop at that point. So he assumed when he requested his presentation for the metrics and all that of a review for the city manager, he felt like it was going to be rolled into what she requested, i.e. a workshop. Anyway, he says, I made the assumption, yes, I know, because you know what happens when you assume, that the item was going to be rolled into the workshop for the other member's request, again, Chandra Myers. So, well, it was not. And I had to scramble to put together the presentation. So, again, he was under the impression that his request, which was to discuss the metrics and all of this stuff in regard to reviewing a city manager, was going to coincide with Chandra's request at a workshop. Well, city manager puts it on an actual agenda and has it as an actual agenda item, unbeknownst to Todd, until the last minute when he realizes, oh shit, they're putting this on the agenda. Excuse me. Again, so, well, it was not, and I had to scramble to put together the presentation. I decided to just skip the review part and present. The review part was, he was going to talk about, the review and how they do that. And so he said, basically, fuck it. I'm just going to go straight for the jugular and ask for termination with cause. So I made a procedural error and got spanked. He goes, whoops, and did a smiley face, which would be he bypassed protocol, and it should have gone through what the charter, says you have to do. So I was fairly certain it was going to be a loss going in, but it would let everyone know where members stood. So he knew he probably wasn't going to get it passed to terminate the city manager, because we know Murray and Michelle and Gonzo absolutely adore him. And there has been chatter about Chandra Myers perhaps interested in getting rid of the city manager over the last several months. So he knew it was going to be, pretty much a dud, but he wanted to stand his ground, and he wanted to prove that this is what the folks voted me in for, and to do is take care of this atrocious, narcissistic, evil man that thinks he runs the council, and of course the city. So anyway, he says mission was ugly, but completed with the exception of one. So he basically is saying by him doing this, they showed their ass, which was Michelle Pines and Mayor Murray. And he expected Gonzo to show his ass, but he said, well played, Gonzo, well played. And that wasn't, props by any measure to Gonzo, other than Gonzo was very neutral. He tiptoed around the whole subject and just said, well, while I'm for a review, but he didn't really stick up for Boltice, and he didn't bury him either, if you will. So that's why he's saying, with the exception of one, well played, Gonzo, well played. So last night, after that was finished, and I watched it on South Lake TV, big props to South Lake TV for broadcasting these city council meetings. Thank you, Jay Bryan. After I got finished watching it, I came on my page and said, oh, I'll help y'all out. Because while this was happening up there in real time, like I said, he had passed out packets to each council member showing just cause as to why he was asking for Boltice's termination. And I don't know what was in that packet, but I have an idea, only because I too have put out information several months ago that is complete just cause for firing the city manager. And if you remember correctly, it was just before Christmas that I put a petition out and was having people sign it. I think it got up to like 86 people and then just kind of fell off. It was around the holidays, and I really didn't push it too hard. I just kind of put it up there for the principal. But anyway, and I listed the reasons why I wanted him fired, and I felt like it was just cause. And there was a plethora, or as, Michelle likes to use that word, plethora. So does somebody else, but they say it wrong. They say plethora, but we won't get into that. I'm sorry. Lamp. Anyway, so there literally was a plethora of information that I put out in regard to, yes, this is just cause for firing the city manager per his contract, subsection D in his contract, which I'll show you that shortly here. Absolutely, there is just cause to terminate this narcissist. But while that was going on, and then they were all shaming Todd up there, specifically Councilwoman Pines. He's just awesome. I don't know where this is coming from, that we're being bamboozled. I think she took that from me because I think I've used bamboozled. I mean, we don't have rights to words and stuff, but she doesn't have a mind of her own. She reads things and just regurgitates it so she can sound smart. But anyway, he's been bamboozled. What is all this? What is all this? What is all this? We just now are seeing this packet. Even staff gives us a packet ahead of time, so we know what's coming. Like, this was just thrown at us, and he's so good. I just have a list. Well, anyway, she goes on and belittles Todd, and then Murray jumps in and helps her edify, elevate, educate all the folks about how wonderful Boltice is and everything, okay, and everything. So anyway, it was him and Pines just I didn't want to bore you with all of it, but you get the gist, right? So then later on, even after Murray tells Boltice that's enough, basically quit talking, Boltice doesn't listen, because remember, he's first on the wall in the foyer of outside the city chambers. Or council chambers. He's first on the wall before even Murray is, right? He's before him on the wall, which shows power, like I come first, when really the city manager should be at the bottom. It should be Murray at the top, or Murray in the first row, and then the rest of the council members, and then the city manager at the bottom. But the city manager, you can see where he places his picture on the wall, just where he thinks he reigns, okay? So he don't have to listen to Murray. No, he just keeps going on and on and on, which proves to you that we have a very weak mayor, because all the mayor does, he's impotent anyways. He's not like the mayor of New York or something. He's impotent. He just runs the meeting. in our city. He just runs the meeting. Well, this shows his weakness, because while he did try to do the right thing and tell Baltice to shut the fuck up, Baltice wouldn't shut the fuck up, and kept talking, and Murray just let him go. What does my volunteerism have to do with, I don't understand with my Farm 1. I volunteered for disabled children. What does that have to do with Farm 1? And I don't understand these lawsuits, because these lawsuits were going on when I came in. Well, Todd, because Todd is, to me, seems to be a very laid back, chill guy. He kind of let them all just talk and pretty much hang themselves, and didn't jump in and really explain what they were looking at in that packet, because at the end of this long period of belittling Todd and, just praising Baltice, and Baltice praising himself, of course, because he's a narcissist, they decided, well, we're just going to have a workshop on August 20th, and this is where we'll go over all of this. And Michelle's like, and I will be glad to do that, because she's got a list. I have a list of all the cool things that Baltice has done. I am sure. And she has a list of other things too, and we'll get to that in a moment too. Anyway, so it'll all be discussed on the 20th. And then, Todd did pipe in and say, well, when Baltice kept reiterating, I don't know what this means, blah, blah, blah. He goes, well, it'll be discussed on the workshop. So Todd kept his cool, and good for him. And so all that'll be explained, he said, at the workshop. Well, I jumped on last night following this meeting, and I said, well, I'll help you out, Baltice, because once again, I put all of this information out previously, along with the petition for him to be fired. So I want to go over everything and help, because I don't know what's in the packet. I don't know what was in Todd's packet specifically, but I know what is in my packet. Okay? I know what's in my packet. So here are the things, and I'm going to list them off. And I've got these, if you go back on my Facebook page, I've got all these listed within that petition on change.org. I've got some of the things there too. But I'm going to name off and briefly discuss the reasons for the just cause of Baltice's his termination. And I can pretty much guess what was in there. So when they were going over and saying, what are these lawsuits? What do these have to do with my termination? These were already going on. Well, I'm pretty sure Todd put those lawsuits in there to show that you illegally used ARPA funds, sir. Baltice, hi, by the way. Hi, PIO, Lori. Yeah, let me just really quick say hi to everybody. Davidoff, hi. Baltice, hi. Pines, hi. Her lover, hi. Did I say PIO? Hush Puppy, Lori Wyndham. She actually follows my page. Hi. Did I miss anybody? Oh, Gonzo and Murray. Hi. Oh, Murray, I know all about you and your family's fake Facebook pages too, by the way. Did I say that? Anyway, moving on. So here we go. So he illegally used ARPA funds to settle lawsuits. You cannot do that. Look it up, folks. Look it up. It's illegal to use ARPA funds to settle lawsuits. Not only did Brian Baltice, our city manager, use ARPA funds to settle lawsuits, specifically Sprinkles and VP Development up against them and the whole Stringfellow debacle. You remember this. Not only did he settle the lawsuits using ARPA funds for those specific cases, when you read the global settlement agreement within one of those cases, which I believe it was, yes, it was the VP Development and Stringfellow case, the city also paid for Jason Stringfellow's attorney's fees. That was part of the settlement agreement to get them to go away. They used ARPA funds to pay for Jason Stringfellow's attorney's fees. Absolutely, unequivocally illegal. You can't do that. ARPA funds are not meant to settle lawsuits, and they certainly aren't meant to pay for the settlement, like for attorney's fees. Okay? So you remember this. If you follow me long enough, you remember this. For the new people, I'm so sorry. I mean, it's too convoluted and it's too long to go into. You're going to have to go back and read or get with somebody else that's followed me for a while to help you understand what's going on in this shit pit. But a long time ago, I mentioned this, that and I've got transcripts. I put the transcripts out there. You remember this. He literally says in a closed door session that then did become public record after the lawsuit was finished. That's what happens when they have closed door sessions. They are transcribed. You cannot read the transcriptions until after the lawsuits are settled. That's how I got my hands on the transcripts. And I highlighted them. And I even went before public comments at the budget hearings 2 years ago, and I put it in his face that you use these funds. So anyway, so yes, I have receipts. So much so receipts and proof because he put it out there. He put it out there. Remember when he had the budget, there was a budget hearing, town meeting or town hall thing 2 years ago. And he put it all up on the overhead. He put it all up there for everyone to see, VP Development and Sprinkles, and that how he used the ARPA funds to pay for that, to settle those lawsuits. He had it all up there, black and white. I've got all the screenshots. He says it on audio and video. I've got all that. So what did I do with that? Well, because I'm an asshole and I will hold you accountable if you're a piece of shit, I turned him into the Federal Treasury. Federal Treasury got a hold of it, and the FBI called me this past October. The FBI called me. I put the screenshot of the phone call up on, you guys remember this, right? You remember this. FBI called me and was asking me questions about Bow Ties in regard to this and some other things that they found interesting about him. And so that happened. So yes, I turned him in, and the FBI is aware and the Federal Treasury is aware. Federal Treasury actually reached out to the FBI. The agent told me on the phone. So anyway, so there's that aspect of why he should be fired and terminated. Well, same thing, terminate, fired. Is because of the misuse of ARPA funds, illegal use, okay? FBI, Federal Treasury know about it. Moving on to the next issue here, which would go under his manager contract, subsection D. Basically, if he does anything unethical or, let me bring that up so I have the right terminology, the right verbiage for you all. Let me see where that's at. Is this it? Let me bring it up. Yes, this is it. Okay, so subsection D of the city manager employment agreement says Bow Ties shall not engage in any conduct which could reflect unfavorably upon the city. He does it all the time, and we'll get into that. Bow Ties will at all times uphold the ethics rules, regulations, and laws of the state of Florida. We'll get into that as well. Bow Ties must comply with all lawful city council directives, state, local, and federal laws, and the city's policies, rules, ordinances, and city charter. Failure to comply with the ethical commitments shall constitute cause for termination. Shall constitute cause for termination. So, with that being said, let's get into more. So we already have the ARPA fraud, right? Moving on, what I just read you. He verbally assaulted, I believe she's 67 or 68-year-old woman in the driveway of a citizen last December, just before the, I think it was light up Claremont bullshit and the parade and all that, because she was talking about sawhorses. You've seen this all on video, okay? I'm not making this shit up. You've seen it all on video where she repeatedly has gone to public comments. Her name is Miss Charlene Forth. She has confronted him about him verbally assaulting her, and he just sits there with a smirk on his face. I also have it on YouTube. I put a montage together of his narcissistic actions and how he is just awful to the constituents, how he threatens them. That is like about there's a speed reader version, which I think might be 18 minutes long. And then there's a longer version that kind of is really slow, so you can read my narration of it all. I think that's like 23 minutes. That's on YouTube. If you haven't seen that, go back on my YouTube channel and watch that. I also just recently reposted the speed reader version several days ago. So you can even go back on my Facebook page. So he verbally assaulted, like hardcore verbally assaulted an older woman outside in public. Okay? So right there, that's grounds for termination. But I'm not done. No, I'm not done. So I'm going to address Balsack with the whole, what did my volunteerism as a treasurer have to do with Form 1? Well, that falls under the Florida statute because Form 1 is less invasive than Form 6. And thanks to Mr. Howard, because I missed part of the meeting last night, I wasn't able to tune in right away. I guess there's an injunction against Form 6. So right now they're going to be going back to using Form 1, which is less invasive of like, your money and your house and who do you owe and who pays you and what have you. But Form 1 still also requires, per Florida statute, of any elected official or city official to list their homes and any businesses that they have. Well, and I have the receipts to this too that he lied. And I'll post all this shit again. You guys need to keep up because I do post this shit and then people act like they never saw it. But I guess you guys get busy and you can't be on my page 24/7. So I'll repost all this shit. But his Form 1 from 2021 was highly inaccurate and deceptive. He did not put his home down that he just purchased. And yes, Balsack, it did fall in within the range that you would have had to have listed that on your Form 1 as property that you own, but you failed to do it. You failed to do it because you bought your house right within that time frame that you needed to divulge that on your Form 1, but you didn't. You also didn't divulge the fact that, yes, you are the CFO, which is higher up actually than a treasurer. You might want to read that up. Read up on that, sir. It's higher up. It oversees the treasurer of a corporation or an LLC or whatever you got going on, S Corp, whatever you got going on. You're the CFO of a nonprofit. And let me bring that up and I'll tell you all exactly the name of it because I can't remember everything. It's called Special Needs Development Group, Inc. Domestic Nonprofit Corporation. It is currently active. Ironically, and I don't know Georgia law. I just don't. I'm not going to pretend that I do. But I found it very strange and inappropriate that while he was the city manager for the city of Acworth, the city of Acworth did business with his Special Needs Development Group. They did business with his nonprofit. I don't think that's appropriate. But again, I don't know Georgia law. It could be fine and dandy with Georgia law. I don't know. And actually, let me bring up this other thing here. James Albright, who was, I don't know if he still is. I don't keep up with Georgia. I don't keep up with the city of Acworth. But James Albright was at the time, the last I checked, an alderman, a city council member. And they call it alderman, I guess, in Georgia. But anyways, he is also on the director's detail. So Brian Bultice is the CFO. James Albright is the secretary on this nonprofit, domestic nonprofit. But they did make money. They do collect money because I looked this up. They did collect money. But here's the $64 question. How much of that money they collected did Bultice actually get? If he got a certain percentage, and I'm trying to remember if it's like 10% according to Florida statute. Somebody help me out here. I can't remember if it's 10% or not. But that's a $64 question. If he got like 10% of any of the income received, regardless if it's a nonprofit, they're still making money. And do they not have to pay these people that run the nonprofit? He would have to divulge that on his Form 1 as well. And he did not. He did not even divulge that he was the CFO of a nonprofit, which is the Special Needs Development Inc. group here. He didn't divulge that. Did he have to? That's the $64 question because we don't know if if it's 10% of any of the proceeds to do his job as CFO. And again, CFO is not the same as a treasurer because the CFO is above the treasurer, kind of handles the same thing, but they are above the actual treasurer. So he kept saying that he was a volunteer. I'm just a volunteer. No, sir, you're the CFO of this fucking nonprofit. So suck it. But anyway, so did he lie on his F1 in regard to his nonprofit? Again, we don't know. That's the $64 question. Did he make 10% for his, he says he's a volunteer, whatever. He smoke and mirrors. He likes to play on words. So So that is grounds for termination because he didn't follow Florida statute. And again, even if he didn't get the 10% for doing what he was doing with his nonprofit, okay, he still lied and didn't divulge that he owned a home in 2021. That's Form 1. That's state law. So there is, like I said, another reason for termination. Are you following, Pines? Are you following, Balsack? Are you following me thus far? Do I need to reiterate, or you okay? Okay, go get a Snickers. Michelle, you might need 8. So moving along. So we've got the ARPA fraud, 100%. Then we've got him verbally assaulting an older woman in public. And then we've got him lying on Form 1. And I think what was mentioned last night as well is that there are private meetings going on at City Hall. Now, when they were trying to berate Todd Howard and belittle him, they mentioned that, yes, you know, we meet one-on-one with Boltice in regard to the council meeting that's upcoming. So if we have any questions, she said, if we have any questions, we can ask him, and blah, 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 all that stuff. So, and then Brian Boltice tried to make it sound super cool that they do that because, you know, even, you know, he just comes up and pulls this out of his fat ass. Lake County School Board does it. Pretty sure the superintendent does it with all of her Lake County School Board members. Well, you probably shouldn't have pulled that out of your fat ass, Brian, because you failed to remember that Todd Howard actually used to sit on the school board. So he pretty much knows the protocol on that, which Todd did speak up last night and have to correct Brian and say, no, that's not how it works, but whatever. So I think what Todd's reasoning behind was anything that is spoken in regard to city business, as in agenda items between a city manager and the council and a council member, should be done at a workshop, because he says it should be transparent. You should not be having meetings with each individual council member in a closed door sesh or even on the phone about city business, city agenda items without the citizens being able to hear that. And I 100% agree with that. I do. I 100% agree with that because, you know, and I've said this before, this isn't, you know, the first time this has been brought up, but kudos to Todd for bringing it up, is you know that Boltice tells them what to say and how to say it. If you've watched these council meetings long enough, all of a sudden someone will go up there and it's like it's a skit. They plan it all. Have you noticed someone will go up and say something and they'll like, oh, Deputy Chief Grayson, can you bring up the, you know, bring that information up for us, you know, the presentation that I told you to fucking do? Because they're all in talks before the city council meetings. They all are primed and prepped and on what to say, how to say it, what to present. Michelle already had a list ready to go last night. You already had a list to go, Michelle? Was that part of the big giant meeting on floor 3 on yesterday? Was that part of the big meeting where every supervisor from every department was included on? Because you all were having a powwow about it? Was it? Do you guys not see the fucked up shit that goes on at City Hall, the corrupt shit? Every city council meeting is fucking planned, people. Do you think that they'd have their shit together as well as they look like they do? I just happen to have that traffic report right here. Let me just go over this, and let me just do a presentation real quick because I'm that fucking good. I keep this in my back pocket. He preps every single council member on what to say on Tuesday evening. Every single one of them. Whether that is in person, because he does it in person, or it's by phone. And yes, I have their phone records. Of course, they all have like 2 and 3 phones, so God only knows what they're doing on their private phones. But I do have proof here. As you can see, these are phone records. And I'm not going to put them out there because there are police officers' phone numbers on here. P.S. by the way. Again, I'm an asshole, but I'm not malicious. I don't leak people's social security numbers online and their spouses to control and intimidate. Anyway, so he is making phone calls to these council members. There's proof, and they're not denying it, on both their private phones and their city phones, because I do know her private phone number, and it's all over Bold Tice's phone bills for the last several months. So I know that they're handling business on private phones. I've got you dead to rights. But I digress. So I can see Todd's point in that. And that needs to be changed. And how dare Bold Tice insinuate that Diane Cornegie runs her ship over there like that? How dare he insinuate that? Because Todd Howard said, no, that's not how we did things over there. But nice try. Nice try. So I told you last night I would break it down for Balsac, high, and for Pines, high, on what probably some of that stuff in that packet meant. So that's it in a nutshell. Now, again, there might be way more stuff in that packet. I don't know, because I didn't put the packet together. I have nothing to do with, I'm not Todd Howard's personal secretary. Okay. So although Scott Davidoff seems to be Michelle's private secretary, again, phone records. But anyway, and text messages, because I can read those too. But again, that's just city phones. God only knows what they're talking about in their private phones to each other. And not, why does Scott Davidoff need 2 phones? Or does he have 3? Oh, I have listed he's got 2 on here. Anyway, somebody mentioned, I think it was Jomo or whatever, or Mojo. I'm having a brain fart. I don't know if I've got that switched around, but he says, wow, they've got more phones than a drug dealer. So anyway, I don't know what else was in that packet. There probably was some other things, and I'm eager to see what was in that packet. But I guess we'll see on August 20th for the workshop that they're going to have. And sometimes during workshops, it depends on if the mayor allows the public to speak. Now, they didn't allow the public to speak last night because it said, it wasn't an actionable agenda item. Therefore, the public cannot speak. Whatever, because it was just a discussion amongst themselves. So they may or may not allow the citizens to speak during the workshop on August 20th, although Marie has the complete control to allow that. And it'll be real interesting if he does, because I'm sure you're going to get quite a few citizens up there complaining about Bold Tice. Again, that YouTube video, that montage I was telling you about, he threatened a constituent who does, she has what they call the spring games, and he belittled her, and because she spoke in opposition of a millage rate increase 2 years ago, he had staff tell her that she was not going to be a sponsor anymore. I mean, he does retaliatory things. And he puts his little flying monkeys, as I like to call them, which is council, up to facilitating those retaliatory things. And that's all I'm going to say on that, because, again, investigations are going on right now. You're welcome. So, with that being said, that's what happened with that. And now we're going to get into some real fun stuff that I think you'll find real fascinating. I don't know. What should I do? Should I do the Otis Taylor shit first? Or the Michelle Pines? Let's get into the Michelle Pines thing. All right. I'm going to need my readers for this one. Yes, I'm going blind because I'm old. All right. So, and again, I'm not going to get into it because I legally cannot. But you do know the incident that happened to me on May 14th. What was that, like a month ago now? In regard to somebody, I know who you are, using a fake account to leak my and my husband's social security number on Otis Taylor's campaign page, and Otis left it up. So he is 100% culpable in a felony. So, but that'll get taken care of. Anyway, so remember this. You remember that? Okay, and that's all I'm going to say on that. Well, as I started to investigate this issue, because that's what I do, and who knew I was going to be the victim of something like this. But anyway, when I started investigating my own issue, I came across a locked report that had me listed as other. Now, I will let you know this is considered CAD name files. CAD is a computer-aided dispatch. Spillman is the program that they use for CAD. And I highly encourage you, on a side note here, I highly encourage you, just like your credit report, folks, to yearly request your own CAD name files. It's a law incident table. It's got lines across. I would show you mine, but I don't know where I put it. And it tells you every interaction you've had with the police officer, whether or dispatch. You could have called dispatch and said, hey, I don't know, somebody's parked in front of a fire hydrant out here, pissing me off. The noise complaint. I saw a drug dealer go down, whatever. That will establish what they call a name file for you, and it'll have your name, and then subsequently CAD will pull up your date of birth, your OLN, driver's license number, and your social security number. That's ironic, isn't it? Anyway, so it'll pull up all this information, and it will establish a CAD name file for you. Again, any interaction you've had, or anytime somebody has listed you, dare I say, as a suspect in something, it is going to show up on there as like you're an other, you're a suspect, you're a person of interest, something to that effect, right? So it wouldn't be until I pulled this on myself, and subsequently my husband, that I see on my particular CAD name file, hi Michelle, a locked report. It says no access allowed, and that I'm listed as an other. So I asked CPD records. There was one woman in there who was just so friendly, and I know why. Won't get into that either. But anyway, I asked this other woman that was in records, what's this all about? Why is this report locked? And she goes, I don't know. She kind of gave me that look, I don't know. That's LCSO. That's an LCSO case. That's not us. We don't know. It just says no access allowed. So I call Lake County Sheriff's Office records, talk to records, and I ask, hey, this is a report number. I got the report number. Why is this locked? And what the hell? Why am I listed as an other? What the fuck is this? So she came up saying, well, Spillman, again, what did I tell you that was? The software used, the program used for computer-aided dispatch, otherwise known as CAD. Spillman had a little glitch apparently, and it locked the report. It shouldn't have locked it. I said, yeah, but this is from over a year ago. Why is it still locked? And why would a report even be locked, ma'am? And she says, well, a report generally gets locked temporarily when it's under investigation. What? Investigation? Pines, you little cheese muffin. Anyway, really, I said, well, could you please unlock that and forward me that report, ma'am? I want to know why I was listed as an other. So she does, and she sends it to me. City thinks they're real slick. They're disgusting. They're retaliatory, and they stomp on your civil rights. But I digress. Anyway, so I get this report, and I look through it, and lo and behold, it is a report that was filed by none other than Council Member Michelle Pines against me for cyber stalking, which apparently is a real nifty involved crime, you know. I never got contacted by any of the deputies involved. And that's why I highly encourage you all to request like a credit report every year, your CAD name file, because somebody can literally list you as an other, person of interest, or a suspect in a crime that you had nothing to do with, don't even know what the fuck they're talking about, and they don't even have to have legitimate probable cause to list you as such. And as police officers or deputies, they don't even have to come make contact with you to knock on your door and say, hey, ma'am, you've been listed as a suspect, an other, or a person of interest. Can we please talk to you about what was said about you? No, they don't have to. Did you know this? I didn't know this, and I used to work in law enforcement. So I thought that was pretty interesting. So just to give you an example, somebody used this as an example the other day, and I thought it was really fucking funny. So I can call the police department, whether it be CPD or LCSO, and say, hey, my next, my neighbor over here, he was dick-wagging me. This was somebody that told me this, and we laughed. My neighbor over here dick-wagged me. His name is Joe Blow Jr. Well, do you have proof that he dick-wagged you? No. But you know why? He's very heavily political. He's very heavily political in this community. And I think that's why he dick-wagged me. He dick-wagged me because because he's heavily political and he knows I don't agree with his beliefs. So you go ahead and mark it down. He's a suspect. Okay. Joebl. They legally can do that to you. No proof. They can even say, well, he doesn't like me. That's why he dick-wagged me. Or he spray painted asshole on my fence. Well, do you have proof of that, man? No. But I think it was him because he's very heavily political in this community, and I think he hates me. And I wore blue yesterday, and he likes purple from what I heard from Betty down the street. Pretty scary, isn't it, folks? Someone can just take your name out of the sky, put it into other, or even a person of interest, or even a suspect. And now your name is fucked for eternity. Good thing I'm old and I don't need a job, because this is real cute on my CAD name file. Thanks, Michelle. Anyway, so it's a cyber stalking crime that I was listed as an other. She also listed her limp noodle, John Gregory Ammon, as well. I'm actually listed as involved. She's got my full name on here, my address, my DOB, everything. Super cute, which is public record, but you got to be smart and kind of like tenacious to look this kind of shit up. But no, it's all out there in public record for easy peasy findings. But John Gregory Ammon, her boyfriend, he got to invoke Marsy's Law. Now, what is Marsy's Law? Something that elected officials get to invoke, where they don't put your name and address because you're an elected official or you're family of an elected official. You get the gist. You know, your information isn't put out there. But damn it, my information is out there. So John Gregory Ammon got to invoke Marsy's Law because he was just so scared because he got a bad review. And I'm going to go ahead and read the report. We got time. Have a beer, people. Pop it open. Get your popcorn. All right. So, and I also want to point out that it was received by a deputy, the same deputy that responded and the same deputy that was responsible. Do you know what this means? Okay, maybe I know a little bit more because I used to work for a PD. Okay, received by should always be a dispatcher, folks. Always be a dispatcher, because protocol is to call the police, the non-emergency line or the emergency line, and call dispatch. And dispatch is received by. So they type in their name or code. Received by is always fucking dispatch. When you're just, whether you're an elected official or you're an average Joe, that is fucking protocol. Not only is that protocol, but you should be asking for the agency that is in your jurisdiction. Literally, you should. You can ask for an LCSO because, all of Lake County is their jurisdiction. However, you will have an argument with the dispatcher because she will initially decline and argue with you that you need to contact, they need to send a CPD officer. But legally, you can bitch and moan and you can get a deputy out if you so choose. But anyway, so she called out a jurisdiction. She didn't call dispatch. Not only was this report locked, folks, so nobody would find it, inclusive of me, I suppose, but CAD, the computer-aided dispatch, which everything goes into CAD. You make a phone call, dispatch types it in. A cop, 1098 no report, or 1098 report, I need a case number, Claremont, or, whatever they call their people. All the back and forth communication goes into CAD for that call. It's all connected to that call. Okay? There's nothing in CAD. Because I called dispatch before I called records that next day to get this report. And they said, it's like it doesn't even exist, ma'am. I've never seen anything like this before. I can't find any information on this. There's nothing in CAD. There's nothing. It just says it's locked. I can't read this. So what does this mean? This means that Michelle misused and abused her power, which is in the Florida statute, and the Florida Commission on Ethics have been notified because I filed a formal complaint against her for abusing and misusing her power as an elected official, because she contacted a public official. Right now, we're narrowing down who that was via phone records, because I've FOIA'd the fuck out of people's phone records. No, Sean Parks, I'm not coming at you. I just want to see your phone records. But she reached out to somebody high up, a public official. That public official contacted a sergeant, and that sergeant contacted this deputy, because I've talked to this deputy. I've already talked to her. Nice girl. Young, nice girl. But Michelle, you're busted because you abused your power as an elected official, because you thought you could be slick using your private phone. Using that private phone. Luckily, I know your private phone number, and we'll get to that in a minute too. To contact someone that has power and tell a sergeant at LCSO to send a detective. And this deputy is actually a detective. And I have the phone records to prove it, Michelle. This detective reached out to you and called you first. Then while she was calling you, you were calling her because, you know, I know you, Michelle. We used to be cool. Remember? I know you're impatient as hell, so you were trying to call in while she was calling you. And according to her phone record, she abandons that call and answers your phone call. So must be super nice, right, folks? Must be super nice to have that power to just call a public official and put a little call in for you, right straight to a fucking detective. No, you don't have to go through dispatch. Only peasants have to go through dispatch. Only that's for peasants. And you get a detective calling you. You didn't even have to call them. Of course, you did try to call her because you were impatient as fuck. You got your own little private detective. Moving on. That was June 19th of 2023 that she called Michelle at the behest of her superiors. So I don't want to drag this detective into it that she fucked up because she was told to contact Michelle, because Michelle's special. She's special. She's like the president or some shit. And Marcy's law for her boyfriend. Oh my God, we'll get into why he was so scared. So scared, shaking. Anyway, so this was June 19th. June 20th, she would meet with this particular detective and a couple of other folks from LCSO. And she would bring with her a stack of spam emails. Cyber stalking. I didn't know. You know, I have a shit ton of spam. Do you think that I could call a public official to get me my own private detective out of jurisdiction and keeping it outside of CAD and on the down low, and then lock it up after because I look like an asshole? And we'll get to that too. Do you think that they would do that for me? No, they wouldn't, because I'm not special. I'm not an elected official. I'm just a peasant. So at best, and if it was CPD, at best, I would maybe get a miscellaneous report, or they would tell me, look, lady, you're fucking crazy. This is spam. These are spam emails. How the fuck is this cyber stalking? Cuckoo, cuckoo. Yes. So I was listed as involved in a cyber stalking crime against an elected official. Let's move on. On June 19, 2023, I was made aware of incidents involving an elected servant and was informed there were concerns that criminal activity were present. This bitch needs to be embarrassed. And I'm not talking about the detective, obviously. I'm talking about Michelle. I contacted Michelle Pines, the possible victim, via phone. Michelle requested an in-person meeting to discuss her concerns and to provide me with the information, which was scheduled for the following day. On June 20, 2023, I met with Michelle and her boyfriend. Hi, Greg. Greg Ammon at the Lake County Sheriff's Office. Michelle informed me that she is currently serving as an elected official councilwoman. Oh, did you? Did you have to put that out there? Because you're so special. You're so special. for the city of Claremont. She began her first term on November 17th of 2020 and began her second consecutive term on November 29, 2022. Michelle indicated that for approximately the last year and since the last campaign season, she has been the victim in the creation of Facebook accounts by an unknown person, proclaiming to be her and acting as her through comments, messages, and other forms of social media communication. She provided the vanity names of numerous accounts believed to be involved, which included 15 vanity names listed. She informed me that these fake Facebook accounts have been involved in communication through groups such as Claremont Candor, The Just Danny Show. Oh, Lord Jesus. Inside Claremont with the number 2. I haven't had Inside Claremont with the number 2 in a very long time, so whatever. Tammy Ann and Mystic Moon Artistry Artwork. Of these fake social media accounts, the user creator uses photographs of various unknown persons, along with fictitious names, to slander Michelle's name, position, and beliefs or stances of certain political positions. Let me just stop you right there, Michelle. You're an elected official. How many times have I fucking said this to you? I've sent you emails, because remember, we used to be cool. You're an elected official. Anybody anywhere on this fucking planet, even in Omaha, Nebraska, can talk shit about you as an elected official. It's not libel. It's not slander. It's what you have to put up with when you're an elected official. You fucking moron. On June 3rd, 2023, Michelle stated she received email correspondence from, and I'm not going to say this person's name, on her City of Claremont email address account. In the provided copy of this email, which was not in original format, you think, the writer expresses their concerns that fake social media accounts are being used and believe they are a personal attack against the writer, as her names have been used in these fictitious accounts, such as, and then there's a word here, or a name that I'm not going to say. This isn't me, by the way, it's somebody else. And the name Michelle, with the last name that I'm not going to use, and wrote of personal interactions that they have had with Michelle. The email also states the writer was made aware of defamatory statements made to folks outside of my family. However, these statements are not elaborated in the email itself. The email outlines the writer's intentions of seeking a monetary settlement from the city of Claremont for attorney's fees, incurred costs, and damages for emotional distress, starting in reference to Michelle's mistakes of involving herself in our private affairs. Now, this has nothing to do with me, and ironically, this entire report goes off on this specific person who is not even me, but yet she lists me as the involved, which I find kind of hilarious. But just to in a nutshell, this person that I'm not going to mention, just out of privacy, has had problems with Michelle interfering in her family, and it's gotten so out of hand that this person has emailed Michelle directly. And told her to stay out of her family's affairs and so forth. But I'm not going to get into all that because it's not my issue, nor, and I hate to, I don't want to sound rude, or my problem. I have several problems with this woman. This ain't one of them, but I'm not going to get into this other woman's issues with her, but there are issues, and they are legitimate issues with Michelle. Michelle provided a copy of a response email, which was not also in original format, and made statements as such as, someone is creating accounts and claiming they are me. She responds also stating, please know I'm not behind any of these things you brought up in your email, nor would I do anything like this. So this person that I'm talking about is accusing her of making fake accounts and saying shit. And then Michelle is saying, I responded to this person saying, I would never do anything like that. But wouldn't you, Michelle? Michelle indicated she believed that along with Danny Page, identified as Danielle Page, you think, may be involved in the creation of fictitious social media accounts, as they are recognized as being heavily political, involved in the Claremont area. That's her probable cause, because I'm heavily political in the Claremont area. So now I am responsible for cyber stalking, aka spam emails to Michelle's email account. Someone please help this woman. She needs more drugs. Michelle also provided me with numerous pages of what she explained her emails she has received, which include spam type emails, and stated they are being sent to her in various formats. She stated that within the emails, various information that she can connect to her email address, name, physical address, or phone number has been used. Bitch, how many of y'all have spam emails that use your name, your address, or your phone number? Get a fucking life, Michelle. Get a fucking life. Both persons of interest in this case, Bop and Danielle, have associated phone numbers owned by AT&T, and through investigation, Danielle also utilizes an Apple iPhone and iMac products. Oh, so does about 1 million fucking other people. I didn't know there was only 2 people that used AT&T or used Apple iPhones or iMac products. I was able to locate some of the Facebook accounts named by Michelle as being involved, and preservation requests were submitted to Facebook under case blah, blah, blah. On June 21, subpoenas for the Facebook preservations were drafted and sent to the state attorney's office for review. Guess what? I FOIA requested those, and no such drafted subpoenas were found. So that was either a misconception on this writer's part, or they got lost. So I contacted the state attorney's office, and they have no such subpoenas either, or no idea regarding this case. On June 22, I met with Michelle in person along with Corporal Strickland and Lieutenant Willits. Now, not to be confused with Strickland from CPD, because I actually confused him initially, but it is another Strickland that works for LCSO. P.S. by the way. Michelle provided me with a large stack of printed emails that may be of evidentiary value. On June 30, I spoke with Kylie at Performance Roofing Contractors. She was able to verify that an online form was completed and sent to them with Michelle's name, address, and email address. She was provided my contact information, advised she would attempt to obtain the IP address used to send the form. They don't collect IP addresses. Numerous emails have a sender address of aidcollection@xmr3.com. A search of this revealed numerous posts about being spam email correspondence. So then, like, again, she received a response from Performance Roofing saying that they don't capture IP addresses. I contacted Michelle and informed her of a case update to this point. She provided me with additional email correspondence that may be of value. Did you get more spam? I got about 1,000 of them in my inbox. But you know what I do with them, Michelle? I delete them and I move on with my fucking life. Because it's fucking spam. Do you guys think that you would have the LCSO deputies and detectives running around for this goes on for a month. They're running around trying to sleuth spam emails, utilizing your tax dollars because she's an elected official to appease her for spam emails. As of this date, there are no businesses that retain data. On July the 3rd, I received a text message from Michelle which showed a package had been delivered to her address from Harvest Ministries. This was likely a Bible, as a previous email correspondence had indicated a free Bible had been requested by her. Should I go into it how I receive Voice of the Martyrs magazines once every 3 months under Danielle LePage? You know what I do with that, Michelle? I throw it in the trash and I move on with my fucking life. Put your big girl pants on and just deal with it. I'm not even an elected official, and I get, I guess, cyber stalked too. But I don't call the popo. On July 5th, I received additional screenshots from Michelle showing email correspondence with a phone number of, and there's this phone number for insurance quotes. This phone number is connected to a BJ Gerber subject out of California. Guess there's people in California pissed at her. I don't know. On July 6th, I received additional screenshots showing a correspondence with 352, and it was a number that was connected to Domino's Pizza in Claremont. You know, Michelle, there might be other people besides me and this other person that you named that actually fucking can't stand you. But I love how I live rent-free in your brain, and anything that happens to you, I'm responsible for. Did you stub your toe today? Did your asshole itch after you farted? Was that my fault too? Do you want to go ahead and make a police report about it and let them run around for a month trying to figure out why your asshole itched after you farted? Do you? Subscription submissions, blah, 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 blah. And it just goes on and on and on. And she's just every day sending this poor detective, LCSO, oodles and boodles of spam emails. And, yeah. Oh, here's the involved page where it gives my DOB and address and everything. But John Ammon gets to invoke Marcy's Law because he's just so frightened that he's going to be murdered or something. Cyber harassment. This is an affidavit written by Michelle Pines. This is her handwriting. Let's read that. I have God, I can't even read it. I have received countless emails, over 100. Let me do it in the Pines voice for effect. Thanking me for my application registration request for information, as well as all of the following emails. Examples of these emails are applications for loans, debt relief, submission of the product idea, application for a cash offer to home repairs, assisted living, apartment rentals, political party website that are not my party. The list goes on and on. I also have been under attack on social media with false information, false claims, false photos. I have been accused of setting up these fake accounts, of which I have not set up any fake accounts. The people accusing me are, I believe, the same people that have taken my personal information and applied for loans and made registrations to websites. I'm sorry, moron, but no one can apply for a loan without your social security number. You know, the one that, like mine that got leaked? Yeah. No one can. Cuckoo. Yeah. People are applying for loans in your name, dumbass, with Michelle Pines. This is her email address. Can I have a loan? And this is who y'all voted in twice. Good job. I believe all of this to be local, targeted, and not spam, due to my personal info that continues to be used. Anyone can find out your home address, Michelle. Anyone can find out your fucking name and phone number. It's called public record before you were an elected official. You're not the fucking president. Anyone can find out this shit. Matter of fact, you wrote all that shit down when you applied to run for office. You're welcome. Again, my name, email, phone, and personal physical home address has been compromised. My life has been compromised with the social security number leak, Michelle. Everybody knows my fucking address. I got people driving by here. Matter of fact, I got some on film that I will be downloading for y'all to watch. I get it all the time. It's called public record. Anyone can find it. This seems to be harassment, defamation, and misuse of my info without my consent. Defamation? There's no defaming an elected official, ma'am. I have dealt with this for the past year in silence, which has caused me months of emotional and physical distress. Signed, Michelle Barnard Pines. This is all her attachments. Then she puts my name here, my phone number, and another phone number that belongs to at the time, a 12-year-old juvenile. And then she has the nerve to say, unsure of who in the family these phone numbers belong to. Bitch, you know whose phone number that belongs to, because you used to text message me for 6 months straight, and then text message me from like 6 to 6:45 a.m. And then when your lover would leave, then you would call me and we would talk on the phone for about another hour, give or take. Michelle, you are a fucking liar. You know goddamn well that is my phone number because you used to call it all the time. Every fucking day for 6 months. Because you know why? Because you used me and my platform at the time, which was Inside Claremont, to get you elected. Then after I helped get you elected using my platform, you dumped me like a hot potato. And the other phone number, you know fucking well whose number that is because I borrowed your lover's phone 4 years ago. 4 fucking years ago, Michelle, I borrowed your lover's phone to call this person who was 12. And your sick, twisted ass saved that child's phone number on your lover's phone, or you wrote it down. Because I've tried to access my AT&T records online, and I actually have to call them because they don't keep more than, I think it's like 3 or 4 years online. Anything, or not 3 or 4 years, I take that back, 2 years or something like that. Anything past that, you have to contact, well, at least with AT&T, you have to contact them, and you basically get your own records like that. So did you go above and beyond? Okay, this is what I'm talking about, people. She is such a loon that she literally remembered 4 years ago, 4 fucking years ago, that I borrowed her lover's phone at a council meeting because I was live streaming with my phone and I couldn't use my phone. She remembered that from 4 years ago. This is a sick, demented woman, this person is. She knew it was a juvenile's number, and she either wrote it down again for safekeeping because she's that cuckoo, and she never knew when she was going to need it at some point, or she went back and bugged her carrier to get those records to the exact date and the exact time I used his phone. Sick. Sick. But thanks for putting a juvenile's phone number now on public record. And this is just all the other bullshit. She made her own little narrative up because she's adorable. So, yeah, this is all the attachments and that bullshit. And I had dipshit, her boyfriend's affidavit, I thought, in here, but it's not in here. I have to reprint it, I guess, because I'm going to need that. Anyway, so her boyfriend wrote an affidavit because he got a bad review because he's a bug man and he sprays yards. He's a bug guy. And somebody gave him a bad review, and so he thought he needed to invoke Marcy's Law because he's so fucking scared. So, I'm going to preface why I think this happened to me. On May 25th of 2023, I filed an ethics complaint against her. Remember this because she sold property to Darren Johnson, her buddy, and received $18,000 for it. Again, she had to, divide that between Tony Hubbard and all the other folks that probably worked there. But she received $18,000. And the Florida statute clearly states that you cannot, it's actually 112.313 subsection 7A, a public officer or employee is prohibited from holding any employment or contract with any business entity or agency regulated by or doing business with his or her public agency. Darren Johnson does business with her public agency. And it is on its face, the statute literally says a public officer, again, is prohibited from holding any employment or contract with someone that does business with their agency. Additionally, nor shall an officer or employee of an agency have or hold any employment or contractual relationship that will create a continuing or frequently recurring conflict between his or her private interests and the performance of his or her public duties, or that would impede the full and faithful discharge of his or her public duties. Now, the Florida Commission on Ethics decided to side with her ass and said, oh, no. She just couldn't be in a contractual relationship with Darren Johnson while she was voting on his bullshit. But on its face, the plain language of the statute states otherwise, and I argued with them. And to this day, I stand firm that, yes, she violated that. But I digress. But I filed that on May 25th of 2023. Not even a month later, she files a false report against me as a cyberstalker. It's not done yet. Just before she filed the cyberstalking case against me, that is when I released to the world my city council episodes. Saturday Night Live kind of like skits, is what I was told they were called. It pissed her off because she's my main character, Barnyard Pines. It's satire. It's a character based on a real life person, but it's satire, and you can't do anything to me regarding that because it's satire. And you're an elected official, and fuck you. So this report, this false report, maliciously and retaliatory behavior of her, she did this because A, I had just filed an ethics complaint against her. So she was pissed, and it's before they let her loose of it. So she found out I filed that because they contacted her. So she was pissed about that, and she was pissed that I had the city council episodes going out, and I was making fun of her, which I am legally able to do. All coincided with this false malicious report. Not only did she abuse her power in filing this report against me, because again, didn't go through CAT, didn't go through protocol, circumvented the whole thing, and used a public official to get her own private detective and have them work on this case relentlessly for a month straight using taxpayers' dollars. And at the end, they closed it and they deemed it spam by bots. Are you embarrassed yet, Michelle? Are you embarrassed? So that happened. And, yeah, here's all my evidence here attached. There was no CAD calls. They have no reference to this case. It's like it didn't exist. I've got the phone logs showing where the detective organically reached out to her, and it was all down on the down low, and it was all locked. This proves that if you disagree with your local government, or in this case, a psycho, they can list you as a suspect and other, or a person of interest in some made up fucking crime based on spam. Again, it was closed. Spam bots. Are you embarrassed yet, Michelle? And by the way, I sent her an email on May 3rd. Was it May 30th? I have a copy of it. I sent her an email and letting her know my discontent with that, and the fact that I was also doing another ethics complaint against her for the abuse of power. Not only did she abuse her power as an elected official to get this report written, but she also lied to a police officer. She said she didn't know who these phone numbers belonged to, who in the family, and she told on herself because she said family. I don't know who in the family these belong to. She's a liar. And I called her out as a liar in the email that I sent her. And I can prove it because I too can pull my AT&T records and show you your number calling me every fucking day. She annoyed the piss out of me because she was using me because she wanted to use my platform to get elected. And it worked, didn't it? Got her elected. But this just goes to show you, and I can't get into the whole social security number things, but this is part of it. The retaliatory, disgusting, egregious, malicious, illegal measures that your city government will take against you to shut you down, shut you up, and make you go away. Okay? This is what they do. This is proof right here. This is just the icing on the cake right there. And just to show you how your elected official is, I'm going to go ahead and pop up some Facebook messages because we were cool. Remember, Michelle, we were cool. So I'm going to pop those up for fun and just let you read those, and then I'm going to move on because they're quite hilarious. Take a look. She admits she drinks. She admits it. And then the SEX word. All right, so moving on to the next order of business. And I apologize. This is probably running so long, but I hope it's entertaining. Next up, yes, we're going to go back to the Otis Taylor bullshit. Sorry, not sorry. First of all, I want to go back to the day that was May 14th, which was a shit show of a day, where a police report was filed against Otis and his crew. and I'll just say his crew's name, Cynthia Newman and David Newman. Cynthia, people talk about my language. She's got quite the mouth on her. So the police report was written because Otis Taylor and his crew on May 14 were actively violating the no solicitation zone at several polling places. Everybody, inclusive of myself, phoned Alan Hayes' office, who Alan Hayes is a piece of shit. That's right, I said it. And did nothing about it. Even though he could have brought charges, but he failed to do so because he according to Otis, he's gonna give him a sheet of paper next time so he can designate the invisible area. It's not invisible. It was all put out there. But anyways, so his opponent's wife went to the First Baptist Church polling location, took a picture of them violating it again, him and his crew, right outside the fucking polling doors, talking to people, even hugging on poll workers. How egregious and inappropriate is that? Take a look at this picture. This is them outside the polling area. Right there. Boom. Outside the doors. So as she took the picture, she said, "Smile." Well, Cynthia Newman, according to the police report that was written, wasn't having it. And she does have a little temper, because when I bombed the mayor's luncheons a couple months back, she did this shit to me and uttered something. She's gross. She's gross. She looks like a bronzed Barbie. Take it easy on that bronzer. Anyway, she comes out. David Newman, her husband, comes out, according to police report, along with Sandra Taylor and Otis Taylor. And they surround her car. She couldn't move because they're surrounding her car. As Cynthia Newman, according to the police report, states, according to the police report, "Get the fuck out of here." And she starts waving her, "Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here." So that police report was taken because Otis doesn't understand where the no solicitation zone is, even though there's signs. And Alan Hayes doesn't want to do anything about it. I wonder why. Why doesn't he want to do anything about it? Does he not want to look like a racist? Oh. That's right, I said it. Y'all are chicken shit when the person's not white. And it's been like this since the whole George Floyd thing. But I fucking digress. Anyway, he didn't want to do anything to Otis. Doesn't want a pure racist? I don't know. He's just a dumbass? I don't know. It's an election year for him, so maybe he's just trying to suck everybody. I don't know. We all love you, and I'm not going to mess you up because I want your vote. Very strange things happen, folks, in election years. Anyway, so that happened with the picture and everything. So Otis wants to go up to the podium a couple weeks ago and defend himself on that. And then he didn't really invoke my name, but he probably should have, because then he starts talking shit about me. Whatever. Fuck you. But last night after the city council meeting, this is a video I'm going to show you that is absolutely... It's hard to watch because this is an older woman who is Otis squares up on her, literally, bodily squares up on her, then stops her from moving and gets in her face. There's no audio because it's illegal to get audio on people in a public place. It's hard for me to watch because I knew that Otis was a bad dude. No one wants to fucking listen to me. The only people that listened, he lost by 400 votes, which isn't a lot, but there wasn't a lot of people that voted either. So if you look at the percentages, what did you get? He got like 1,500 votes. So 1,500 of you were idiots. Sorry, not sorry. If you voted for Otis, You're an idiot. He's a bad dude, and that's my opinion, and I'm entitled to it. And if you want to go ahead and leak my last morning's shit out online, go ahead. If that's what you think you're going to do to shut me down this time, buddies. You poke the bear, and anyways, I digress with that. But I'm going to show you the video now. It's hard to watch, but take a look. All right. Now I'm going to slow it down in the part where he leans into her and literally stops her from moving forward. Because I think that is the most hardest to watch, in my opinion. He's just, you don't act, first of all, you don't act this way to a woman. I don't know what's wrong with men lately, and it's not even so much the millennials. There's a lot of older men, and I've had it happen to me. I have it happen to me all the time. All the time. These men are like in their 60s and 70s, acting like the most just idiots. I don't know who raised them. Cowards, maybe? Cowards raised them? Because that's cowardly. You don't buck up to a woman. You just don't do it. My husband is 100% Southern gentleman. He would never buck up to a woman. I don't care if the woman hit him. We've had this conversation. He would walk the fuck off. If you are a man, you never get into an argument with a woman, especially on Facebook. What are you, a fucking pussy? Are you a coward? What are you? Who raised you? Who raised you? Darren Johnson? A pack of wild animals? Otis Taylor, who raised you? A pack of wild animals? Some morons that didn't graduate high school that don't know any fucking better? Who raised you, men? Who raised you? And I don't even want to say you're a fucking man, because I already had this conversation regarding your child support issues. That's right, I'm bringing it the fuck back up. What you did last night, sir, is absolutely fucking disgusting. You should be ashamed of yourself. You never buck up to a woman. I don't give a shit if she's punching you in the head, you walk the fuck off. Because a real man doesn't do that. A real man doesn't attack a woman. And when you saw when she walked out, he got her attention. She was getting ready just to walk out. He got her attention and she turned around. He was out there waiting on her to start a fucking fight with an older woman. What is wrong with you, Otis? Let's watch the slow-mo. Roll it. And so that wraps up my show tonight. I know it was really long, and for those of you that stuck with me, I appreciate you. I always have a lot of information, and I apologize. I don't like to take up your time. I really don't, because everybody's time is very valuable. If you have children, If you're just married and you like to spend time with your spouses, I understand it, and I apologize for intruding on your night. And I try to go quickly. But thank you very much. I want to thank my new followers. We're almost up to, what are we up to? We're almost up to 2,400 followers. And we obtained these fairly recently, probably back when the special election occurred. So I want to welcome all the new followers. I've got almost, I have 5,600 views on one of my videos alone. So thank you for watching that video, and thank you for coming to my page and following me. Thank you for being interested in your local government. This isn't a competition for popularity. I don't care if I only had 10 followers. I just want to educate the community. You might think I'm malicious, and that's fine. This is a free country. I'm a constitutionalist. As long as you're following the Constitution and not harming anyone, do you, boo. I don't care what the fuck you do, okay? As long as you follow the rules and the laws. And that's what I do. And if you find that malicious, that's your prerogative. That's fine. I do everything within the confines of the law. I will continue to do my job. You want to leak my social security number out there with my husband's? Fine. What you got? What you got? You want to gaslight and say that we have records? We don't. But go ahead. Go ahead. Continue on with your third-party aggregators that you look up your consumer report, those aggregators, because they are 100%, almost 100% inaccurate. Last time I checked, I also went by Darius. Darius? Was it Darius Page? My phone number is attached to him. I don't know who the fuck Darius Page is. Ironically, he has the same last name, and he's attached to my phone number, and I don't know why. So no, I'm not AKA Darius Page. There's other names that on these third-party aggregating sites that say I'm related to, and I never heard of them. So go ahead, Super Sleuths. If you think you got shit on me, go ahead. Try me, because you'll just add to legal ramifications, because I collect everything. I've got shit from 4 years ago, and thank God, because that's really going to help me out coming up with this other shit I got going on. But like I said, I can't get into it. But go ahead. What do you got? What was that van that pulled up in front of my house at 12:30 this afternoon? Who was that? Got him on my camera. Again, I live in a fortress. I have cameras all the way around my fucking house. So come try to fuck with me. I will see you. I will zoom in on your fucking face like a pimple. So go ahead. What do you got now? What do you got now? What are you going to do? Physically harm me? I'm putting it on the record right now. If anything happens to me, please look inward at the City Hall. So we're doing false, malicious reports against me for cyber stalking crimes. We're damaging my property with 6 sheet metal screws in my tire a year and a half ago. You're harassing and intimidating and going to illegal tactics online by leaking my husband, who's completely innocent in anything that I do. You're gross. You're gross. And now this last video that I just showed you with the other woman who's also similar to me but doesn't have her own platform. Now you're going to have an ex-candidate that you wanted in office to harass her, an old lady in the fucking hallway. And you saw the city manager walk past twice, or maybe 3 times, and just let it happen. Did you see that? Did you see Bell Tice walking back and forth? Sick. Why does Deputy Chief Graysick need 3 phones? Why does Davidoff need at least 2 that I can find? Why does Balsack need 3? Why does Broadway need 2? Why are y'all using your private phones to conduct city business? Why are you calling each other at 10 o'clock at night on a weekday? Cannot wait till the next morning? What's so fucking important? Balsack, why were you calling Otis Taylor throughout the fucking campaign months? What were y'all talking about? Why did you call Otis Taylor at 10 o'clock at night, Balsack? What's up with that? I got questions. And why all these fucking phones? Why do y'all need so many phones? I would think that you would get lost and not know who the fuck you are for the day or who you're talking to. Why do y'all need so many phones? And there's so much more, folks, but I can't talk about it. Investigation stuff, I can't talk about it. I've got about 3 inches. That's that thick. Sex, liquor, and private phones. And with that being said, stay tuned because this is going to be a bumpy ride, folks. This campaign, it's going to get real ugly. I can smell it. I can smell some sin coming on. Not from me, but from the people involved, the powers that be. I can smell some sin coming on. Smell that? Yeah. Put on your seatbelt. It's going to be bumpy because it's going to get real fucking ugly. Nothing I'm going to do. They're all going to just hang themselves. And with that being said, thanks for joining me. Sorry it took so long, but just a lot of information. And unfortunately, we all have to live in the shit pit and watch it all happen and unfold before our eyes. They're stealing our peace and they're stealing our joy. You pissed yet? Make your voices be heard in November. Thank you and good night.